And welcome to another episode of the Exciting Whites Podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Kaylin.
And we talk about white wine and everything else that's on the table. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I got arrested this week. And so I've been dealing with that.
What?
Yeah, I tore a mattress tag off and they got me.
Oh, they got you for that one.
And so I've got to get an attorney and I've got to go downtown and I've got to deal with all of the federal implications of mattress tearing.
Yeah, that makes sense. So far, don't tell anyone, but I've ripped several tags off of mattresses and have yet to be arrested.
Well, I have to, so this is just one of my influences that I feel like I've needed to do leading up to today's wine bottle, which is called 19 Crimes.
It is.
This is my first of 19 crimes that I've committed. I will be continuing with some jaywalking. Possibly I'll throw some pop cans away. I don't know if that's actually a crime or if it's just being a bad person.
No, it's just being a bad person.
And if that doesn't work,
you could always just not return your cart at the supermarket.
I think I'm not going to participate in the census. And that might get me another slap on the wrist. So that's 4 or 5 crimes in addition. And
could not claim some personal sales on PayPal for like Marketplace, or that would be a crime, I think, right?
Do you want to tell us about this delicious bottle?
I do. So like he mentioned, this bottle of wine is called 19 Crimes.
Don't do crimes.
Don't do crimes.
I don't want to endorse crimes.
We do not endorse crimes of any kind, not even jaywalking.
I did tear the mattress tag off. I'll admit it right here. So if they want to come and get me, here I am.
Great.
Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, it is a beautiful, gross April-ish day in Michigan.
Yeah,
and
April-ish.
It's muddy out, so spring is here.
One reason we love wine so much is because we're indoors so much. And
during the winter times. And soon it will be the most spring, and then soon it will be the most summer, and then we'll still drink wine.
But Michigan is pleasurable to drink wine outside because we have lakes and a lot of different things around here that are cool to visit. If you didn't grow up around them, they're more special. We take them for granted, I think.
Yeah.
Having been around them for so long. Anyway,
would you like to hear about this 19 Crimes wine?
I'm sorry. I'm just in a talkie chatty.
This is a 2022 Hard Chard.
What does that mean, Hard Chard?
I mean, it's a Chardonnay. It just says Chardonnay 2022, but it says Hard Chard. I think it's referring to the hard.
If you know about this.
The hard time.
Oh, it's the hard time.
Related to the hard crimes.
Okay.
So the background behind this wine is each declared, the 19 crimes, each declared by His Majesty to be punishable and convicted by transportation. In southeastern Australia, 19 crimes turned convicts into colonists. Upon conviction, British rogues guilty of at least one of the 19 crimes were sentenced to live in Australia rather than death.
I know people that would do that willingly now.
Yeah. I mean, even despite all the crazy like spiders and creatures that just want to kill you while you're there. But yeah, anyway. For the rough-hewn prisoners who made it to shore, a new world awaited. As pioneers in a frontier penal colony, they forged a new country and new lives brick by brick. Approximately 20% of the prisoners banished to Australia were women.
Wow, actually, I didn't know that.
They served hard time and were instrumental in the founding of the nation. 19 Crimes Chardonnay honors their brave contributions with the boldest expression of Chardonnay we could make. To learn more about this and similar stories, please visit us at 19crimes.com. This bottle was imported and bottled by TWE Imports in Sonoma, California, although it is from Australia. This 750 milliliter bottle is 16% alcohol by volume.
That's what they mean by hard.
Yeah.
This is no joke. I can taste it on my tongue immediately. It is immediately heavy. But I enjoy it so much. I noticed that they didn't recommend a food pairing, which kind of means you can do anything you want with this.
You can do what you want. Commit
Yeah,
a crime, drink this wine. It's fine.
I enjoy
all
this
fine.
quite a bit. Wow. I'm going to take another sip because
The first sip was very strong.
yeah.
The second sip was better, and the third sip is better for me.
it's
I wasn't expecting
caramel.
just the intense. It's
It's
dry.
hard. I think that's what they mean by hard. When you
Yeah.
it's almost like it almost comes across in the same way like a sake does.
Yes.
Like an immediate burn.
Yeah.
And that's not something you get from a Chard often. I
No.
mean, you just get that the other side of it, which is the taste. It still has it.
But unlike the Gakeikan sake that we had, Gakeikan, this is something that my taste buds are warming up to, as opposed to
Yeah.
the Gakeikan. It was just harsh.
Hard for you to drink from
Every
the start.
sip. I'm just like, oh, this is nice. Yeah.
So, have you, in your lifetime, ever gone on a date? Mm-hmm. Have you ever gone on a date and had it go just so poorly that it is still etched in your mind, and you still think about it sometimes, or
Basically, what was your worst dating experience? Is
kind
that
of,
what
yeah. I
you're-
mean, what your individually is there one individual like bad date that you think
Yeah.
you've had that sticks out above all other dates?
Yes.
And that would exemplify this.
So this, I feel like it's considered a date, although my friend Jen, who actually you know as well,
Like not his wife.
not his
Oh,
wife.
yeah. Okay.
My
Other one,
friend
Jen.
Jen.
Yep.
Yes. So I was dating somebody, and we were dating for a few months, and I was starting to get to the point where I was introducing him to some of my friends.
Yeah.
So we made plans to a date for the beach, and to go to the beach in Grand Haven, and I invited my friend Jen along. So it's technically a date because he wanted to be a date, but also he wanted to get to know my friend. So he was going to carry it on.
But
whatever.
Jen did not bring a man or
She
woman
did not
or-
bring a man. She was here to vet my boyfriend.
Right.
So I don't know if this is considered, but it's terrible. So we are at the beach, and we go all the way down the pier, and I believe
Was it hot out?
it was hot out.
You got a swimsuit on?
Yeah, I mean, we're at the beach. We're whatever. We're walking
getting a
through,
visual.
and all of a sudden
important.
he starts complaining that his stomach is upset. We had stopped at I think the Grand, is that what it's called? It used to be a movie theater downtown, down the main Washington
You
Avenue
ate
or
some
whatever.
yogurt with some beetles in it?
No, we had sushi. And so anyway, we were
Oh,
walking
boy.
down the beach after that, and he was complaining that his stomach was upset and he needed to find a bathroom. And I'm like, all right, well, we are at the very furthest point away from any bathroom, so we need to start going. And he's just like, all right, but he's walking really slow. And I'm like, if your stomach is upset, the bathroom is far, so we need to go. So we're walking, and he's just like, I don't think I'm going to make it. And I was like,
no.
what do you mean?
Oh, no.
You're not going to make it. The
Set
beach
phasers
is
to stun.
filled with people, filled with children, filled with people. And he's like, I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't think I'm going to make it. And I'm like, the bathroom is right there. Like at that point, we were maybe like 50 yards away
All
from
of
the
you are
bathroom.
going in this caravan together. There's three of you?
I feel like, yeah, because he didn't know where it was, and I knew where it was.
So you picked up all your stuff?
Well, we were carrying our stuff still. We hadn't sat
Oh, I
down.
see.
We had just
This
finished
is on the
walking
way.
down
I
the
see.
boardwalk, like down the pier, and then we were starting to walk down the beach. So the beach is way over on this side. The bathrooms are like, I don't know, at least a half mile away on the beach. So you're
Hand
walking
gestures
in
only
the
work
sand.
if they're in frame.
Okay, great. That's why I explained a half mile away. So it was a while, and we're walking in the sand. And it's
Yeah.
hot, and so like imagine like trying to walk, and you're
Imagine
sinking
walking
into it,
in
and you're just
sand?
like,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like
Lived in
walking on
Michigan most
concrete.
of my life.
It's not like walking in concrete. Anyway,
bad.
whatever. So we
Sahara.
are like 50 yards away from the bathroom, and I'm just like, run to the bathroom if you don't think you're going to make it. He's like, I'm not going to make it. He pulls down his pants and just starts crapping everywhere.
Like,
in the sand, in front
Like-
of people. And we're just sitting there, and my mouth is just dropped open. I could not believe what I'm seeing. The image of this man has just disintegrated in front of me. I just see like an insane person dropping trowel in front of children and old people and young people, just every person.
Were genitals out as well?
Yes.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
You gotta go. And
Yeah.
so he's just crapping all over in the sand. And my friend is just like, we're just staring at him. We couldn't look away. It's like watching a train
Okay,
wreck.
but like how long would you say that the shitting went on for?
Like a minute or two. I mean, it was diarrhea.
But it was like explosive.
It was explosive
I mean,
diarrhea.
If you can't, I mean, what was the reaction of onlookers?
The same. No one knew what was happening. His butt was so white against his tanned skin, and his little.
Did he bury his feces in the sand?
Yes,
like a
look,
cat?
I
he
was gonna
starts
just go
covering.
there.
He starts
I was gonna
covering
be
it
like,
like a cat. You know, like
You know, he's like,
and like everything is, and yet it still got all over his swimsuit, and it was just all over. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was down his legs. So he runs into the bathroom and like starts trying to, like there was a shower, so he's trying to shower, but all the he's telling me this after, the poop was like clumping in the shower, and these kids were in there just making fun of him, and I'm like, yeah.
but didn't you end up marrying this person?
No.
Oh, this is a different guy.
No, I did not marry this person.
I understood. I feel like I've heard this story, and I thought it was your ex-husband.
No, it was not him.
Was there
no.
another date after this one?
Yeah, what happened after this? What conclusion, please?
So I mean, I had been dating him for like a few months, so I felt like I couldn't really break up with him at that point, like for having a crap in public that he couldn't control.
But also
so, yes,
exposing your genitals to children.
Yeah, that
like
was
if
really.
I was going to do it, I would at least have like tried to
for
roll
me.
down a hill and like, I don't know.
There was no
find
hill.
some cover.
There was no cover.
You could go behind a trash can. There
was
tons of
no
ways
trash
to hide.
can.
You can put your hand over your junk. You know, you don't have to be Porky Pigging it out there in the sand.
Yeah, it was like he got out there and pulled down his pants, and he was just like doing this, like
No.
the little elephant. Have you seen that video of the elephant, or what is it? Yeah, elephant. He's like going like this with his tail, and the poop is just flying everywhere. It
So many
basically
videos
looked like that.
Sick.
There's
Yeah, it was
only so
really
many
gross.
hours in a day.
Really gross. Anyway, no, I didn't break up with him immediately, but I did break up with him eventually. Yeah.
So there were more dates. Was the
there
question.
were more dates,
Like
but
how many?
that was a very terrible.
How often would this incident come up in your discussions in other dates? Did it ever come up
It
again?
never came up.
You never were like, hey,
I never
I want to
discussed it
address
with
with
him.
you
No, the only person I ever
the shitting in
continuously
public
discussed this with
was
is Jen.
That makes sense. It checks out. That tracks.
Yeah, she's like, remember when we went out with your boyfriend at the time and he just crapped all over the beach and everyone saw his genitals? And I'm like, yes, that was an interesting time. And she goes,
So did he bury it?
yeah, like a cat. Somebody stepped in it eventually, I'm sure.
Holy crap. See what I did there?
Yeah.
I'm enjoying 17 of the 19 crimes so far.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's pretty good.
Is it growing on you?
It is growing on
growing
me. Yeah.
in you.
The first
how
sip
it
I
works.
had was strong, and I didn't know how to
Kevin's
take
face,
it.
which you can't see because it's not on camera, but
It's
my
a scowl.
gosh.
It's like this.
I'm just thinking about this dude
Just as
crapping at a beach and then
Yeah, I mean, it's a beach we've
burying
been to,
it.
too.
And burying it.
I
and
understand
just-
where it is. The beach in this particular area where she was at
Yeah.
runs parallel to a channel. And so there's a boardwalk or beach walk, and then next to that is a channel. People can go all the way out. So, I mean, I imagine the visibility from the channel wall is much better than it is standing down on the beach. So probably other people from further away could see the crapping going on. I mean, your visibility,
at
people
that
from the
point,
water.
no, you
probably
couldn't
could.
see it from the pier. At
How
this
do you
point,
know?
Because we were like almost a mile away from it by the
Oh,
time
you
we
were still
finally
like
got
way
to the
back by where
bathroom.
they put like that.
No, so like we went
ships
to the
and stuff.
bathroom over by the campground.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
you're
know
on
where
the
you're
other
at now.
side. Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't eat sushi there in the summer. I mean, did you get sick?
No.
Did you guys eat the same thing?
I think so. I mean, we had different types of sushi rolls, so I mean, technically we both had sushi, but I don't think we had the same exact.
Don't
food.
answer the question with details. Just answer the question yes or no. Do you have a second runner-up for this story?
Yes.
Okay, save it. Do you have one, Kevin, that you would like to share? Your
Nothing that's
worst-
going to top that.
I mean, yeah, I have one that's pretty good, but I don't know if it's as good as that. Yeah, it doesn't involve any feces.
Mine's more sad than, but I'll tell it. So I've been a married man most of my life.
Yeah.
As you guys know, I went through a divorce in my younger 30s.
This show should just be called The Divorced Whites.
Yeah.
The divorced,
But I'm yet married again.
whites.
I mean, it would check out. By the way, the name of the show has literally nothing to do with the color of our skin. We just thought it would be funny. That's
It's
all.
white wine.
Because
white
we saw this
wine.
word, exciting whites. I'll post up the image. I'll give it to you. I'll send it to you. So we can pull it up.
But during my time of freedom, when I was unencumbered, I went on several dates. But there was one in particular, a girl I dated, I don't know, maybe a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
And no, 3 or 4 dates. And we got along pretty good.
Yeah.
And
She had
she
a tail.
was, what's that? It's not my wife.
No, I said she had a tail.
No, she didn't have a tail. No vestigial tail or anything like that. But what was interesting, she was a little bit younger than me, like late 20s. And as you kind of do when you date people, you get to know them. And she had told me she was a virgin.
Oh.
And
A huge revelation for an adult
and this
dating
is like
situation.
date 2, right?
Oh.
And, you know, she's super religious, comes from a background that she doesn't believe in sex before marriage.
There it is.
And then, you know, obviously I was honest that I'd been married before and obviously at that point, not a virgin.
Right.
And like, there was just a tremendous amount of weird pressure,
Okay.
you know, to one, like commit.
Mm.
And this is like date 2. Like she like literally is like in the I love you phase. And like, this is the second time like I've seen this person in my life.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are
And,
you
like-
ready for me to don my bonnet
Right.
for the ceremonial
And, like-
hand binding?
And she kept like,
Would
you
you
know-
bind our hands together? Betwixt this rope lies
she
our
kept
fate.
saying like, you know, I don't know if I'm going to wait until marriage now and all this stuff. And like someone who's been like a virgin or
wait,
saving.
she was saying that she wasn't
Yeah.
going to wait?
Yeah, she wasn't going to wait anymore.
But if she knew that you were cool to be on board for life, she was
Right.
cool giving it up ahead of time.
Correct.
Yeah, that just
After
means-
2 dates.
After 2 days.
Oh, dear. She's
and like I
jumping
liked
right
the
in.
girl, but I
Not
didn't
enough.
like. I wasn't in any shape, form,
Clearly she
anything
had
to
no
commit
hold on you.
to anybody.
Right.
Right.
This
so
was like an early thing.
yeah. So I wanted to end it there, but I didn't
Oops.
because it's like
Chill.
I don't know, pity 3rd date. I think it was 3rd and 4th dates.
Yeah.
But it was so hard to break that girl's heart because like
But why? Okay, real quick. Why? There's 2 criteria here. It has to be a bad date. One.
it wasn't. What made it a bad date was that added like
stress and pressure to
Yeah.
it, because you felt like now the only focus is going to be forever on whether or not you're interested in long term forever.
right.
You can't have a right now. You have to have a right now forever.
Correct.
Yeah. And is
And that's like
is it, you know, I don't know. Is it would it be bad to have gone along with it and then been like, no, I changed my mind. Like that's what would happen to this person. I'm not saying I would do that. I'm just saying that like what's gonna happen.
right. Well, that
And
was
like
like the
she's gonna be
thing.
left literally at the altar, and like that's just yeah. They didn't set her up to navigate the waters of understanding, you know,
No.
like the world in any way.
What made it difficult is like I pretty much broke up with her because of that.
Yeah, like you liked her, but
I liked
but,
her,
like, her
but-
personality and her appearance was
Yeah.
great, and
All that was
there
okay.
wasn't really any detraction besides this
But like that immediately
500-pound commitment in the background.
ended it for me.
And,
Yeah. Makes sense.
Because then it's like, all right, what if we do?
yeah,
And then like I'm not there.
right.
Like I'm not like I don't want to be with you forever.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing. Especially out of like I just got
You just got to commit after 2 dates to marriage. If you're not
I
dating
guess.
for marriage, you shouldn't be dating.
Yeah, there is.
She would've had better luck
there
in the
are groups
Amish
of people that
community.
believe that.
There are
and-
people that
and-
believe
and
that,
that is their right to believe that. That is certainly
can do
obviously
yeah, I
not
don't
what we
begrudge
think,
her or anything. But it
If
was
you have a
we were very
specific
weird.
goal, like you are specifically dating to marry, then then you have to find somebody else that's
But
dating to
My
marry
goal
as
at that
well.
time was
Goal,
not.
right.
Yeah.
It was to have fun. I just got out of a
Right.
marriage.
Can
so-
you, do you think that 2 people with the specific goal to find someone and get married immediately,
Yes.
or maybe not get married immediately, but your outcome in meeting is only to find significant mate, significant matchup for financial or living, and then match up over like procreation, right? And let's say that all those boxes are checked down the row, and that's enough. They could
that is
snore.
enough,
They could
yeah.
have egregious body hair. You know, they could have stinky feet. They could have all these different things, and you don't know about them. Like some people think when you move, there's some things about people that you can't get from dating them until you live with them.
Right.
And my mom was very upset when I moved in with any serious girlfriend because, you know, I was raised religious like you were. And I'm, you know, we're always putting the cart before the horse, you know, all this.
I would never marry anyone without living with them first.
Absolutely. No
and
way,
that
no
is
how.
because I didn't live with my ex-husband
Oh,
before
yeah,
I got
yeah.
married. And that was a mistake.
Well, I was
like,
you know,
can't know, like, people can lie to you about various things, about what they
But you-
enjoy,
but the way
about
people are
whether
dirty,
they're clean
yeah,
or
like,
dirty,
they leave
or
dishes,
their
or they-
weird habits at night or in the early morning. If you're a night person and your mate
Sleeping is a big one.
It's a huge thing.
if someone's got a weird sleeping thing where they do something weird in the night, like shout or
Let
you know,
it all
I don't know,
out.
gymnastics in the bed in the middle of the night, or like other things like you know,
Yeah.
snoring can be real bad. I mean, I've shared rooms.
Snoring can be helped though. Like you can wear earplugs, or you can always like
Sure.
sleep in a separate room. I know of couples
but
that
forever, that's a long
get
time.
married and they have
Their
a
whole
separate
life.
bedroom to sleep in because their person snores too much.
I mean,
or they
I've laid next to
leap
women that
about.
snored like sailors before,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I didn't know that a person that size could make such a sound.
They probably had sleep
Yeah, like,
apnea
like
or
an
something.
old, yeah, I don't know.
They need to
like
go
an
into
old
those
tractor, like.
machines.
This one girl,
Cute.
and she was very attractive, but her snoring was just like consistent, and as soon as she fell asleep, it started.
Yeah.
Do you want to know mine?
Yes.
I do.
So, at the beginnings, I wouldn't say the beginnings. Okay, so this was an online dating experience, and it was like probably one of my first or second dates for meeting someone digitally before. And at the time, it wasn't new, but it wasn't. Most people still like I would say like speed dating or like it's just lunch or whatever, or the coffee speed dating stuff that they used to do was a thing still then. And they got those events don't exist
I
as
don't
much
know about
anymore.
it's
So,
just
like they do young
Unless you have
professionals. or it's-
autism and you're on the spectrum, then speed dating still.
Oh yeah, like Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah.
yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
And look at how easily I imagine those services still exist for
Probably.
for people that aren't on the spectrum. Like
No, yeah, there are dating services.
no,
like,
I just mean like a thing like that,
Oh,
like
yeah.
where they did in the show. I think probably that stuff still exists. Like you do like 50 seconds a table. I've never done anything like that. I don't have that kind of confidence, believe it or not. But the online experience I had received a message from a girl, and she said that she was interested in talking, so we started talking, and she was funny, and like we had a lot in common, and like she said all the right things, and she seemed to get jokes that I had made, and like so we set a time to hang out, and she sent me some pictures, and like I had a few up already, like so this was kind of a red flag because she only had one picture to start, and I thought, well, maybe like she said that she works in finance, and so maybe she didn't really want all of her customers to see like her profile everywhere. So she said that she'd only put minimal pictures up, and she would send me more. And like a day or two later, I get an email, and she'd send me some more pictures. And so I was like, oh, cool. Like she seems like a good fit. She seems cool. Like, so we go and we meet at a restaurant, and I got there early, and I had made a reservation and put both of our names on it so that we could sit. And so when I got there, she was already there. And they told me, well, she's over there in the corner. And I remember looking over there for the person in the pictures. And then it wasn't that person.
And that wasn't that person.
No, and I
Oh, no.
I remember a sinking
You was
feeling.
catfished.
It was before the show Catfish. I was catfished. And this it takes a weird turn. Because it takes a weird turn because it's me, because it has to take a weird turn. I had like a fight or flight for a minute where I was like, that's not the person, but I'm going to go over there because like I don't want to be a bad person. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be mean. But the person sitting over at the table, when I sat down, I said her name, and she said my name back, and I was like, you're a different person. I literally said it out loud. And she goes, I know. And she grabs my hand and she goes, I know, I lied to you. I know, I sent you a different picture. But I just really was like interested in talking to you. And then we started talking and I wanted to send you my actual pictures, but I didn't know how to do that after I'd already used a fake picture to sort of, I felt like lure you in and like, and I was just like, yeah, okay. And catfishing didn't exist at this time, like as far as like the MTV show. So if that puts a date on this, whatever. But, you know, it was before that show had come out. And so the term didn't exist. And so I was just like, I had these like weird emotions because I'd never been in a situation where like I was intending to meet someone and then I go to meet them and it had never possibly occurred to me that I could go meet someone and it would be a different person.
Yeah.
Like this was so early on that it was like, I didn't know what to do. I hung out and we had a couple drinks and I just said, listen, you know, that I got to go to the bathroom real quick. Like, I was going to say something. I didn't really get it out, but I wanted to exit the situation because I was upset, but I didn't want to be verbally mean or like dress her down in some way, especially in a public place. And so I just went over and I quietly got our server and I paid the bill and I just wrote on the bottom, you know, I hope you find what you're looking for, comma, I don't appreciate being lied to. And then signed my name and had her take it to the table. And then I left. And that would have been probably my worst dating experience. But the story gets thicker because it always does.
More.
But there's more because so fast forward like 3 days. So this was a Saturday. It's like a Wednesday. She sends me an email and she's like, "Listen, I feel really bad about what happened. I got your note and you're right. I did the wrong thing. I should have been upfront. I should have been honest about who I was." And like, her name wasn't even the name that she used.
Oh,
she used her friend's picture and her friend's name.
Whoa.
So the whole time I'm even talking to her, she's talking to me and I'm using that name to talk to her still. And she's still, not until like I got up to go to the bathroom. In fact, I left that part out.
So she made like a fake email too?
She told me her real name right before I was getting up to go to the bathroom. And that's when I decided like, she didn't even bother after knowing that I would see her and know that she wasn't the same person to even like continue to not even say that wasn't my name either. Like to not even reveal that fact. And I was just like, this is a person that is just up to bad stuff. You know what I mean? Like they want to be nefarious and they're trying to trick people and they're trying to, I don't know what the outcome is. I don't know what the kind of psyche of a person that says, come meet me. Maybe they'll think we had such a connection, like over conversation, that being lied to about their physical appearance, regardless of whether you had a good conversation, is enough. Like it's enough that we connected about topical things enough to meet for a date. That I would look past everything, like the name.
But the fact that you're lying is, it's not that you substituted a picture of somebody else for yourself or a name. It's the fact that you did those things.
Right.
It's not the things
how
you
would
did.
You trust
it's
a person
that
like
you
that again?
did them.
How could you? I mean, like, how would you trust that person if you? Let's say, like in a hypothetical world, I'd walked in there and be like, you know what? I like you better. Like your real self. And she told me her name up front and not gone on with a fake name, right? Or her friend's name. And told me up front. And let's just say, like, hypothetically, I capitulate. And I'm like, you know what? I appreciate your honesty. I understand somehow that doing this is because you're nervous about being on the internet or something. And you don't want to use your own image. I don't know. There's just, as I talk through it, there's
no
just
reason.
not a good real
There's
way.
no reason.
There's
So
no real
anyway.
good reason. So anyway, she sends me an email and she says, I feel really bad about what happened and you were nice and thank you for paying the tab and being a gentleman. And I didn't feel like a gentleman. I just kind of was like, it's kind of like the first time I felt like if I could block a person, because that wasn't a thing then, I would. Like that would now in my mind, I would be like,
Nope.
Anyway, she writes me an email saying that I have shared your profile, meaning me, with the actual friend that was used in the name of that friend with her. And she was interested in meeting you. She's like, actually thought that you and her might get along. So I was like, this is weird. Like immediately my alarm bells are like, okay, well, I mean, like, so now the friend is going to do a mercy date with me to make up for the fact that she lied to me about the actual person that she was. But as recompense, I'm going to meet the actual person that she isn't. But of course, me being me, I'm intrigued. So I go. Cause I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
why not?
I hadn't been murdered yet. So,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, so it's fine.
So I go and I meet at the same restaurant, which I thought was interesting. And yeah, she requested to make it the same place. It wasn't the same table, but
So did you talk to the actual girl before?
we briefly talked. Yeah,
Okay.
we kind of just she had given me her email and we talked a little bit, and like she was just like very agreeable about everything, which should have been another red flag.
Girls aren't agreeable.
Well, I mean, it's not.
It'd
That's
been
not what I
funny
mean.
if it was the wrong girl again.
Just show up and
Just
they
a
said it is
different girl.
one. Oh.
Okay.
And that was Haley Berry, and she went on to be famous. No, wasn't that awesome? In fact, this is what happens. I go and I meet her, and again, she beats me there, even though I'm 15 minutes early, which just smells like a plot.
It's a scheme.
I get there, and she's sitting, and it is the girl from the picture. And, you know, we shake hands and or hug or whatever it is that you do when you first meet somebody for potential date. And we sit down and we start talking and everything's fine. And like we order drinks and drinks come. And she's got her drink and she's just like doing this with it. She's just like keeps turning it in her hand and like staring at me. And she's looking at me like she's thinking about something else. And finally she's just like, I have to tell you something. And I was like, okay. And she's like, I don't appreciate you treating my friend the way you did, and takes the drink and just boom, right at my face. And I saw it coming because I knew she was going to do something. She was like holding it in a way. She was just like, and I got something I'm going to say to you. And she's like looking at it. And I was like, this chick is going to throw a drink at me. And she did. Tossed a whole drink at my face. Told me she didn't appreciate the way I treated her friend because I left and I didn't just be up front and say I didn't want to date her.
But you did. You literally did. You wrote it on the note. She got the note.
I mean, the point is that I actually...
And you paid the bill.
She said
you
that
paid the bill.
She said that I was a
crappy
coward as a
person.
man. I was a coward as a man for not telling her up front that I wasn't interested in her, and that I was even worse as a person for taking the date with her because of her appearance. And I was like, I took the date because we talked, and I thought you might actually be the person that I thought I was talking to. You know, crazy, right? Like,
Yeah.
she tossed a drink and it missed and hit a lady behind me who almost got up and beat that girl to death. And I broke up that fight, paid the bill, and left.
laughed.
I said, good luck to both of you. I'll help you find what you're looking for.
So no anger for the friend though that was using her picture online. To,
I mean, that's,
Yeah, that seems like I
As
would
I-
be upset about that.
So there is one tidbit, and I had forgot about this until now. So the original girl who had catfished me from the beginning sends me another email, and she's like, I hope you got... She had sent this email preemptively thinking that the plan had gone off without a hitch. And she's like, you got in your face what you deserved! Exclamation point. Down, 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 F you. Signed, her real name, I think.
I think.
signed someone. Signed them.
And I'm just
Anyone.
thinking, all I did was put up an online profile, talk to somebody who sent me a message, who initiated contact with me, and I got dragged into this rabbit hole. I should have. So now after that, anytime I feel my spidey sense tingling,
You're like, bah.
yeah,
I gotta get out of this one.
pretty crazy, right?
It's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is what it is.
Well, it's messed up in the head to think that like I'm gonna like send you a wrong picture, right? And
Yeah.
basically false who I am,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna meet me, and everything's just gonna be okay.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Like
it's the
what
idea that-
world is that?
What world is it that let's say this? Like,
Gracias.
I've had this happen another time, but not in a catfish situation. I had a realtor that I was meeting with, and I had seen her photos on her business card and on her thing. You know how Remax does? They're like,
Yeah.
they always put their professional fic. You know, they're always like they look like adult. You know, they look
Adult
like
glamour
senior
shots,
pictures or glamour
like,
shots.
yeah.
Like sometimes they're
Yeah.
posing. They're like,
Yes.
"Come see me." And it's like, whoa, you look fun. I want you to sell my property.
Yeah.
You know? But anyway, maybe should give it. They always give you a bottle of wine if you buy anything of value, most of the time. But anyway, I went to meet this realtor, and I was looking for this individual from the pictures. These pictures must have been 25, 30 years old.
Oh, yeah.
She was gray-haired and bent, and I mean, the woman in the picture looked like it would be the daughter of the woman I met.
She's like the red woman
was
from
that
Game of
big of a
Thrones.
difference.
Yes.
She took her necklace
She
off.
just had
Yes.
never, and I
Yes.
asked her about it. I actually felt like I needed to ask her about it. She goes, oh, the pictures, yeah. She's like, I feel like as a woman, and this made me feel sad, which is off topic, but she goes, as a woman in this business, I feel like I need to keep my old professional photos intact, because if I put my image up as I do now, even though I've been in this business for 35 years and I'm a professional, people are going to come to me only because they think I'm pretty, and I'll show the house and that'll get it sold, not because I know anything about what I'm doing. And I was like, that's not a catfish, but it is, in a sense that you think
Yeah.
you're going to meet some person and then you get it. It is the person, but it's like a totally different looking person. But, yeah. Anyway. So that's our dating, huh?
Yeah.
So your second runner-up was my follow-up question. I just wondered, do you have what was your second worst?
I'm gonna say it's a tie. My two, they're both very short stories because they were. The first one was back when Facebook was new. I think this was probably like 2005-ish time. So I think because I got my Facebook in 2004.
Yeah.
And so this is probably 2005, 2006, something in there. And there was a guy who, it was back when you could just like follow or make friends with anybody.
Like a MySpace days thing?
Yeah, like, and there was the poke.
It's a place for friends.
The poke option. So we were like,
was poke Facebook?
Poke
yes,
was Facebook.
Poke
No,
was
Early
yes.
Facebook. It's back too.
Yeah, no.
Is it back? Because somebody
Poke wasn't on MySpace.
No, it was on Facebook. At least.
Oh, this was on Facebook.
This was on
I see,
Facebook. I didn't have MySpace for that. I had MySpace to have my top 8 friends and make them jealous of each other, because I would rearrange the order.
I'm not going to dig into that.
Anyway, so
But that's awesome.
So we would poke back and forth, and I thought he was cute, but we never like had a conversation. Then finally, he starts a conversation with me.
Was poking used to show interest? Possible love interest back and forth in early
Possible-
Facebook days?
yeah.
I didn't use Facebook
Yeah,
until
but
Or your
also-
grandma wanting you to give her a call.
I
Yeah.
held out on MySpace for so long. Like I held out
Yeah, no,
on Facebook,
Well, initially Facebook, you had to be in
college
college.
student.
You had to have a college
Which ruled me out
email
from the start.
in order to
Right.
be on Facebook. So anyway, this guy, at the time I was much more religious, and this guy was religious, and so he kept
symbiosis.
He kept messaging me and asking about my faith and asking about different things, and we scheduled a time to go out, like to meet.
Yeah.
And I think we were just gonna, I don't even remember where the date was supposed to be scheduled, but so we scheduled it, and then he tries to get into this whole conversation about like Calvinism and predestination and stuff, and I'm like, I don't think that matters. And he flipped out on me and like turned into like a minister, basically like preaching a sermon at me, and was like, anyway, I need you to agree with this before we can go out on a date. And I
it
was
like a long list of evangelistic.
I'm like, listen, sir. I mean, it was
you must
just
sign this
basically
love
like
contract.
anything I
preemptively.
said, he would argue with me, and I'm like, I don't understand why we're having an argument or a fight. I don't care about this at all. I'm like, maybe it's best that we just don't meet. And he was so mad, and he starts writing me a bunch of things, but you could block people on Facebook, so I'm like, blocked. The second dating thing that
Wait,
second
that
worst
wasn't
date-
it?
That was it. That
That's
was
not
it.
a date. That's just an
Yeah, now we're
interaction.
on-
No, because we had a date
question
scheduled.
was-
We had a date scheduled, but I canceled it because I couldn't
Not a date.
handle the
Ergo,
person
not a
before
correct
I
answer.
met them.
Has to be a date.
Okay, fine. This was a date. I went out with this guy who was a friend of a friend, and he wanted me to go out with him, and I was like, fine. So we go out. He was a nice enough guy. We had dinner, and it was, I don't know, it was probably like Olive Garden or something. It was not good. It was.
You love Olive Garden.
I don't love Olive Garden.
I feel like you do. I don't feel like you think it's fancy.
No, I don't love
Got to
it.
put on my polo shirt. Going
I don't love it. I
Olive
do
Garden
like.
wine tastes like pennies.
I like Olive Garden
I don't know who makes that,
salad. And yeah, Olive Garden wine is terrible.
gosh,
It's
it
like
is
the
just
worst
the
boxed
worst.
wine or something. I don't know. But anyway, we went to, I think, Olive Garden, and it was specifically bad because I remember not feeling well. And he wanted to go to a movie.
Yeah.
And he's like, how do you feel about scary movies? And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
I
she
do not
doesn't.
like scary movies. And he's like, oh, well, I mean... So I really wanted to see Final Destination 4. This is how long ago this was.
This is a movie
And I
for
was
you.
like, I don't want to
no, a
watch a
movie of
scary
what
movie.
ifs.
He's like, well, but you know, if you get
Perfect for a
scared,
Kaylin.
if you get scared, you can just hold my hand. And I was like, I don't know that I want to hold your hand, and I don't want to
Like a
watch
beetle.
that movie. So we go, and he's just like, well, let's go and see if there's something else that we could watch instead.
He's
And-
trying to have an experience like the movie Fear. You know what I mean? Where they're on the roller coaster.
Yeah, I don't. Anyway, so
Kaylin, forever.
we ended up watching that movie.
Final Destination 4?
Yep.
Is that
And-
the one where the logs fall off the truck and go through the
and the tanning bed and the roller coaster and
it's literally like Creepshow or Faces of Death.
well, the
like,
roller
but
coaster was the main thing, and the people that got off
I
all
love
got
it.
like killed by various things.
I
and I'm
honestly
like,
love it.
No.
Because every one of them that dies is like a mega attractive actor that's probably like a good B-list Fox actor. And they get on and they get in that movie and they act up, and then their whole job is literally just to pretend like they don't want to die in the most ridiculous way. You know that show 1,000 Ways to Die. It's like, so wait, so it stuck with you because it had to.
so it stuck with me because I don't like scary movies.
So he dragged you to a movie
I
you didn't
have
like.
night terrors now. Like I do
Yeah.
not watch scary things
love
now
it. I
because I
love it.
can't handle
I love
them. I've
horror.
never been able to handle it. It like I just have dreams of demons and all this. I just don't like it.
You give it-
so
you give
that
it- you give it
so
power
because
over you.
he
That's weird.
yeah because he I felt kind of forced to see this movie because this was what he wanted to do and like whatever. I just did not have a good time, and I told him I didn't want to see it in the first place,
So
and
you
I
were
didn't
mad
like
at
the
leaving
movie.
the theater. You were already.
I was mad going into the movie.
So but leaving the theater, let's say, like you've decided, I
well, I had just been terrified for like an hour and a half. So yeah, I was not in any sort of mood to see that person again.
find that mission success for the makers of Final Destination 4.
For sure. But I mean, I never saw that person again.
Because of the movie.
Because honestly, the conversation wasn't great. But on top of that, like he wouldn't listen to me that I hated scary movies and did not want to go and watch a scary movie. I would literally watch a war documentary or like a rom-com or an animated film. I would watch literally anything else other than a scary movie. And he's like, no, let's watch the scary movie, and goes and buys the tickets. And then I felt bad and I was like, would you like me to compensate you for my ticket?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Because I don't want to be that girl that just like goes along and has the guy pay for everything and then complains about everything that he paid for and then like is the bad guy.
Right. Yeah.
I would rather be like, all right, well, that was awful. Here, have some money because I'm not going to see you again because it was awful. And I don't know.
Do you want to hear my runner-up?
Yeah.
You interested in this?
Yeah.
There's no poop or internet involved in this one. This was I was so like at this place I was working at, this older lady was like, I have this friend and her daughter would just be perfect for you, and I think you guys would be perfect, and like it just your energy and you and her, and I feel like you guys would just have such a great time. So like I'm just like, I go to pick this girl up and you remember I had a Nissan 300ZX, that little fair lady
Oh,
car.
yeah.
I go to
Alright,
pick her up
before.
and she comes out of I'm not giving this as a zonk against double wides. It's just that like I'm going to meet her and it's not a nice park. It's a real bad trailer park. Like the kind where like it's been there for a long time. Kind of the yards with a bunch of different non-running vehicles in them.
Bubbles might live there.
Yeah, Bubbles. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you know, Barb's gonna kick us out of the park. You know, it was like that. I mean, I don't want to say Trailer Park Boys, but like if you haven't watched that show, it was kind of. I was picking her up at the park, and I knew that, and so like, I wasn't gonna like I didn't grow up with a lot of money or anything, so I didn't have like any problem with someone coming from a trailer park. But this she comes out of the door. She's got a skirt on that is like so high up.
Like on her waist or
No,
short?
short. Okay. So short I can see her underwear from the bottom of it, and like it doesn't. I don't mean this in the way of like body shaming in any way, but the size of the skirt that was on her was not the correct size for her body.
I see.
That's medium.
It was tight. And so was the shirt. And so was the attitude when she walked out and said, and this is me quoting her, not me quoting me. "Oh, so you're one of those guys that don't mind driving a Jap car around." End quote.
Whoa.
I mean, I was like, so this is a person in a corporate environment that I had been working in who told me that their friend's daughter would be perfect for me. I'm not even.
Obviously, they know you well.
She decides to get in, and at the time I had some CD on. I think it was like electronic something. I think it was like a Moby record or something. I don't know, or whatever. She's just like, "What's this shit? Don't you like System of a Down?" And I was like, I mean, I don't have a problem with System of a Down, but like,
is that all you listen to? Is that like
what kind of music do you like? George Strait and System of a Down. What else is there? And I was just like,
oh,
yeah, you make a strong point. So I'm like, I got to get out of here. But I'm going out on this date anyway, because like it's a Saturday night. Like I've made other plans.
Yeah.
You're in this far. You might as well see how it goes.
I'm in this part. She finally gets in the car. I had T-tops out, so I thought it would be nice. She's like, "That's gonna blow my hair all around." That sounds familiar.
I don't like my hair blown
She's like,
around.
"Oh, whip them in my face."
Yeah, you gotta like slick it back.
But she didn't complain about that. She's
Gotta be
complained about it
prepared.
before she got in. Then she got in, and she was like, "Oh, it's kind of fast for a foreign car." She didn't use the Jap.
Foreign.
Is Jap racist? You're not allowed.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to say that, right?
We'll
That's
bleep
racist.
that out. We'll bleep that out.
Well, I leave it in for
a
the quote.
quoting context. It
I think in
makes sense.
context, I'm not saying it
I
in
think-
no term. I'm asking,
right.
is it a term? I think it is. I think you're not supposed to say.
You're not. No, you're not supposed to.
It is.
Well, at
bad.
any rate, it's from World War II,
Yes.
historically. But anyway, so she doesn't say it again. She says foreign car. And so she finally gets in. And so we go down. We're driving in what I would consider our busiest street in the city that we live in. And so we're going out to a restaurant out there by the mall. And I am trying to like find out if there's anything that we have in common literally at all. So I am trying to be invested because she's not stopped talking since she's got in the car. And it was like this guy, Greg. All she talked about was this old guy, Greg, and how he screwed her over. And like, I don't want to deal
Old
with another
Greg
Greg. And
screwed
Greg
her
drove
over?
a Subaru, and that's why I don't trust a man who drives a Japanese car. And I'm just like, well, just because I drive a Japanese car, bam! I'm looking at her. I hit the back of a Dodge truck with a hitch. But this is the crazy thing. It doesn't do any damage to the front of my bumper. All it does is crinkled my hood. And so I go over there and I look at it and I'm able to kind of like push it. Now I know I'm going to have to replace it. And I'm like, my stomach is like, I have sick to my stomach because I loved that car. And I totaled that car in the end.
That's how we met.
That is how we met. And that's another story, but maybe for episode 100. But not for today. But the point is that this accident occurred and I was like, I'm on this terrible date. And then she just goes, "What the hell did you go and do that for?" Like,
On purpose, obviously. Like,
So
this is
I
my whole
pulled-
intent of the whole date. I just was trying to
there was
crash
an
my
Arby's
car.
to my right. And I just go poop into the Arby's. And I'm looking at it and I'm trying to fix it. And she's just standing there. She's like, "I'm hungry. Are we going to eat or just mess around with this car all day?" And I was like, "Well, I need to secure the hood." And she's like, "We need to go now or I'm going to have to call someone to get me." And I was like, "Can you just give me like a minute?" And she's like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
So I thought I secured the hood, right? And I get back on the street and go down the road to the restaurant I intend to go to, and the hood just goes bam into the freaking front of the car. It goes wham like this into the front of the windshield and smashes my windshield out. And the glass goes all over this girl. And then I pull into a McDonald's and I go, "I am very sorry about this. Like, I'm freaking out. I'm trying to be nice." And she's just like, "You're a real piece of work." And I go, "Get out of my car. Call whoever you got to call. And if you're hungry," I gave her a $5 bill and I go, "There's a McDonald's." And I called a wrecker because I couldn't drive it. I had no windshield. I left her in that McDonald's. I offered her a ride back to her home. She goes, "No, I'm good. Bye." So much in common.
Yeah.
Human decency. That's my second runner-up. It's getting me mad just thinking about it. Like her face was like that kind of like face that's just like, you know, that person is going to tell you how to live and how, I don't know.
They'll tell
it
you
wasn't
what.
the trailer,
Tell
but it
you
was, but
what.
it wasn't. It was just like, I met some super nice people that lived and grew up in trailer parks. You know, tons of really like decent people.
Yeah.
In fact, like one of the best radio controlled car racers I know has lived in a double
Well,
wide
there's
most of
trashy
his life.
people everywhere. I mean,
Trashy people live in nice houses.
Yeah,
dude.
live in nice
They
houses.
Live in nice
It doesn't-
houses. So caveat. Anyway, you know, I think that you had something else that you wanted to ask.
Oh yeah.
The
Well,
room.
so I had recently showed you because you had not yet seen the classic film, The Land Before Time.
Yes, I had never.
And
seen
it is my favorite movie.
Admittedly, I am
One of my favorite
slightly.
movies
I am a
of all
few
time.
years older than you
Yes.
guys.
Yes.
And so, The Land Before Time, when it came out,
You were
was-
like
was a
8
kid's-
maybe or
yeah,
something.
it was a
So-
kids movie, but I was already beyond that now.
Yeah.
I was into Transformers and GI Joe, and that wasn't my
Anyway.
thing. So.
So that was one of my favorite movies, and I was thinking like that, and maybe the part of the reason why it's one of my favorite movies is because it scarred me for life.
Very sad. We
It's
watched it recently.
We
and
watched
it
it
is-
recently, and I still
It's
like
sad.
well up. My chest gets really tight. I sometimes, you know, if I had a drink or something beforehand, I
Oh.
might shed a tear.
Get those emotions boiling.
Freaking
Like some 19
Littlefoot's
Crimes.
mother dying, and then that scene just gets carried on throughout the whole movie.
And the ghost and the cloud. Watching
the
that movie as an adult.
cloud of her and the shadow and mother.
But Kaylin always has to throw some. She always has to throw something in it to make it even more sad. We get done with the movie and she's like, "You know the girl that did the little pterodactyl's voice?
No, not the pterodactyl. The little
Triceratops?
water creature.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Ducky.
Ducky.
Whatever
Yeah,
she
so
is.
Ducky
Yep,
was
yep.
murdered by her dad in her sleep. I'm like, whoa.
When she was 10.
Like
Yeah,
I'm
why you
Kaylin.
gotta
I don't
make
like
it even
horror,
more
but I
dark?
literally like real horror.
It's
like,
so
The girl that
sad.
did Ducky?
yeah,
Ducky
she got
died
murdered.
when
Yup,
she was
yup.
like 10.
Yeah, she had a super alcoholic,
man.
abusive father, and like he killed the mom and the daughter, and it's sad.
Every time I see that my tooth is growing in a little bit more, I just think in my head, "You are late. Yes, you are."
So, I'm just like- so wait, is there a question in here? Or
Yes.
we just want
What-
to talk about the
so
sad Land Before
was
Time
the,
viewing
That was
I
the
had.
sad movie. That was a movie, a child's movie or a movie made for children that scarred me. Do you have a movie,
Oh, here we go.
a child's movie that scarred you for
Frickin'
life,
all of
that
them?
stays upon your heart and is just like, ugh?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I have so many.
I mean, there are a few for me.
That stays
That's
with me.
one.
I think that stays with me. I think I got to take it. I got to take Artex
I
and
was
the
gonna
Swamp of
say Artex.
Sadness. Never ending story. It just,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
man, I don't know. It's not hard for me to get emotional in a movie. Like I got sad at Land Before Time and I watched that like 2 months ago.
Yeah. So sad.
but when
so
Artex
good.
is sinking into the Swamp of Sadness and Atreyu is just yanking on the reins, it felt real.
Yeah.
And I think as a kid, it was the first time I'd seen like real loss and pain etched on a child's face in such a way before. I think I'm not the only one. I think it got a lot of people like right in that, like, this feels kind of real. Like, and what it would be like to
Yeah.
lose a pet.
I never
and it kind
saw
of
that
toughened
movie
everybody up a little bit.
until adulthood, and it affected me as an adult. So I can imagine how
Yeah,
that would affect children.
it was
seeing it.
a fantastic movie, of course, but that scene in that film still, like, I showed it to my own kids and we were watching it, and they kind of are like wild a little bit. They watch the movie, but they wiggle about, I mean, they're little. And that scene comes on. So the turtle blows him off the tree and he lands in the has he lost the horse bite before he reaches the turtle, right? Okay. So from the moment the horse is sinking and he's yelling at the horse, my kids are just like, you can't escape it. Still to this day, like 30 years later, no one can avoid that scene. It's getting me sad thinking about it. What about you?
I was a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan.
Oh boy, yeah. I know where you're going.
When Splinter dies,
Yes, yeah.
it affected me.
I watched that one as an older kid, and like that one,
Yeah.
oh boy.
Yeah.
I would say the only thing close to Splinter is for me was Optimus Prime and Transformers
Yeah.
the movie.
The only thing close to Littlefoot's mother dying was The Lion King when Mufasa dies.
This will be the first and last time I weep in this show, unless it's for joy.
Yeah.
I'm not really that sad. I just I start
like,
thinking about all this sad. Like I'm thinking about Land Before Time and the girl's parents dying and like her dying. And I'm just like, and then Transformers and Neverending Story.
Yeah,
like, it's heavy,
everybody
like, This is heavy.
dies.
Thanks, Kaylin. Like,
Yeah.
what's
Do you
your
have a
favorite
movie?
coffin material?
Yes.
What's
To
next
our
on the
listeners
exciting
and
list?
watchers, do you have a movie that you feel like scarred you for life? A children's movie that scarred you for
What's
life?
your
We
favorite
wanna
scalpel
know.
for dismembering
Seeing
a corpse?
David Bowie's bulge in Labyrinth.
I like an 11
In your
blade.
face.
It's small but effective.
Oh, David Bowie's bulge was terrifying. And
Oh
Labyrinth.
yes, also
Come
that.
on, just leave it alone.
Also
don't
that.
go down this road.
I also didn't see that
You
movie
take it in
until
another direction It
adulthood.
doesn't need to go.
I didn't see that movie till adulthood either, and that bulge definitely scarred me.
I'm
I was
ready
like,
to do
what
something
the
that
heck?
is not going to make me sad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's do a happy topic.
Great.
Well, so
Or at least a medium.
Great.
it's happy, but it's not sad because I want
it's not
to
sad.
pour more wine and I want
Wine.
to talk real quick about how much I am really enjoying this 19 Crimes. I have never. I'm going to change the name to 19 Cries because that's what I've done since I've had this. It's
I've shed
so
19 tears.
This is the Exciting Cries
The
podcast.
exciting Cries.
cries.
The taste of this wine has grown on me immensely, as has its entire bottle in my stomach. I feel its effects.
I feel happy.
As a hard Chardonnay, I understand now why.
I'm glad I ate before I'm drinking this.
Yeah, we advise you.
There's been a couple
to do that.
episodes. There have been a couple episodes where I did not eat, and you'll probably be aware of what those episodes were based on my behavior. This episode, I did eat beforehand, so I feel a little bit smoother.
I'm choking.
And this is a 16% ABV.
I like it a
feeling
lot.
it, though.
I enjoy it. I've enjoyed it. It's been like the flavor on the nose is Chardonnay, but in the mouth it's like very, very, very tasty. You know when you choke on something and your voice changes into like Kermit the Frog for a few minutes?
Like that.
It's not easy
Yeah.
being green. This is a new part of the show where I don't weep anymore.
Good, no more weeping.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Can we avoid some sad topics?
Next time.
This is a new thing that I have put together. It's just David's wine facts.
David's wine facts.
Yep. And I was just going to share a couple of them with you because I found some of them to be funny,
Okay.
but also like thought-provoking in a sense. This first one is not. In 1906, the San Francisco earthquake destroyed 15 million gallons of wine
What a waste.
in 60 seconds. Isn't that crazy? 15 million gallons of wine.
It's a lot of wine.
Also, 187 people died in that
That's
60
terrible.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
more sad.
maybe they
That's really
succumbed to injuries
happy,
after the
isn't
fact.
it?
Actually, I don't know if they died in 60 seconds. They might not have been
Gone.
Gone,
Gone.
in 60
in
seconds.
60 seconds, right?
Well, that's a happy fact, isn't it? Yeah.
When coffee first arrived in Europe, it was known as, get this, Arabian wine.
Arabian wine.
Because of its fine and delectable aroma and easily marketable appearance, people felt a change in their behavior, much like they did from alcohol in drinking coffee because of its caffeinated purposes.
It is a stimulant. Yeah.
It's a stimulant, right? So people thought, wow, it's Arabian wine. I just want to run down the street on this.
How exotic. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's crazy about it
Brown.
is like, I would think like by that time, so the year that coffee came to Europe was 1282-ish. Yeah, it seems late, doesn't it? That's why
Were they just drinking mead or
tea.
something?
That's why tea is so pervasive still in Britain and most of Europe
Spot of tea.
because it was widely
Well, they
accessible.
would drink
and easy to-
ale, right?
Well, I mean, they would. So beer was made by monks, and it was
Yeah.
watered because what they would do is they would brew a really strong Hefeweizen or something of the like, an ale, and they would add water to it because it would extend the life of it, and also it would water down the
cleaned
alcohol content.
The water.
No, it watered down the alcohol content so that they would drink it as a regular. You have to understand that in this time, rot is a huge problem.
Yeah.
They don't have refrigeration. They don't have any of the processes by which we keep things fresh today in any way. Preservatives, chemicals, the idea or understanding of modern refrigeration is centuries away. So they used the beer as like a regular, just a drink, because water, they didn't understand that you could get sick from water because it was filled with bacteria, because they didn't know about bacteria. So you had to boil the water. But in the fermentation process, by adding water to the beer, those bacteria were absorbed.
Right.
But it waters also down the beer alcoholic content. So anyway, did you know, and it's in the millions, I'll let you guys take a guess, France produces blank million bottles of wine per day. This is per day, and it's in the millions. Take a guess.
30.
30 for you. What do you think, Kevin?
Million bottles of wine.
30 million
No,
bottles of
I'm
wine.
saying I'm saying it's some number million bottles of wine a day in France.
Less than 5, so 2, 3.
You think 2 or 3 million?
Yeah.
Is more accurate? Actually, it would be closer to her answer. It's 20 million bottles a day of French wine are produced.
Well, and this podcast better be a huge success because everyone's just drinking wine, obviously.
Well, I mean,
They love it.
just because they're producing it doesn't mean it's sold. But the idea is, in my mind, is a lot of French wine that I've looked at has become more expensive because of logistic costs. And I'm thinking, if they're making that much, there must be some real either cheap or lesser brands that just exist there that European brands don't export, that I would love to get our hands on for some of this.
We'll have to travel and do that.
Well, we just need to do a little research. I think
it's just a lot of grapes.
I don't think we've done a French a wine yet, a French white. I don't think we have. I think we've done a few Californias. I think we've done some Australian, Japanese with the sake, but that was made in California. It could just be that shipping wine is difficult.
Frisinet was a French wine, wasn't it?
We had a German. We'd done two Germans, but no French wine yet. Anyway, let's put it on the list. A study found that when classical music is played in restaurants, there is a significant increase in how much people spend on wine.
Weird.
Isn't that weird?
Not really. It makes total sense.
Does it make total sense?
Yeah, because
See,
classical
to a music major.
Classical music infuses bouginess into the minds of...
I was expecting this awesome
of the
explanation of
masses.
digging on this.
Classical
When you listen to
music
classical
infuses
music.
bouginess into the
Bouginess.
minds of the masses. And so they're like,
Bourgeois.
what would
On
be
the French
better
kick.
for me? What would be more bougie and fancy for me? Oh, I should order a bottle of French wine. And then they do. And they're
Hold
like,
on.
I am so bougie. Ha,
But
ha,
you
ha.
are using a French accent to describe a Frenchman or woman
No, this is
ordering
just an
wine.
American who just wants to be fancy, and
So they talk like that.
They adapt a French accent because they
I'm
think
ready
that
to order this bottle of wine. I have seen it on the menu, and I
Yeah.
will have it now. Like
they
what?
start playing some Ravel or something, and they're like, "Oh, this music that makes me
good.
want to drink the wine. I'm going to drink it now."
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I understand it. No, I mean, I don't think anybody turns into a French person.
no, but their mindset turns into a fancy.
But you think like they hear classical music and they see other people holding the glass with as few fingers as
yes,
possible.
with their pinky out. When in doubt, pinky out.
Yes.
And
I'm not going to sip that way. It just seems like... Wow, it's not a Slurpee girl. I'm all ready to taste the rainbow.
so fancy.
Did you know that wine is
sense.
mentioned in every book of the Christian Bible
Yeah.
but Jonah?
Well,
Hard to get wine when you're in the whale.
Yeah, they always want to
Whale
say that
cum.
it wasn't real wine,
To no
though.
wine.
It was just grape juice, and they didn't have a word to distinguish between juice and wine. But I'm like, no, because
That's not
everyone
true.
had wine because they couldn't drink the water.
Right. And turning water into wine, as Christ did
Yes.
in his famous water to wine
Yes.
for the wedding, I think it was.
Yeah.
Is important because you wouldn't serve grape juice at a wedding.
No.
You would serve wine. Serving of wine in a wedding in those days was a sign of affluence.
Yes.
It was a sign of wealth.
And the specific
done to
reference
show.
in that story also was that the wine that Jesus turned the water into
Right.
was all the guests were remarking that most people put the best wine first, and as people get drunk they don't realize that the quality of the wine has
Goes
gone
down as the cheaper,
whereas
right, yeah.
he turned the water into wine and it was the best wine
Forever all night.
forever all night.
Partying
And
with Jesus seems pretty awesome.
that he waited or they
They'd be like,
waited
"Man, I'm
until
really
the
hungry for
end
some
to
pizza
get
rolls."
the
And he's
good
like,
stuff.
Me too.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? You imagine this
Pizza
being-
rolls.
You know what would be awesome, dude? Wouldn't it be cool if we were just flying right now and he's just like, onophobia, I gotta be honest, I've been struggling with this word all day of how to pronounce it. It is spelled O-E-N-O phobia.
Onophobia.
Onophobia is the fear of wine. It is an actual diagnosis that you can receive. It is a fear of wine. Yeah.
That's an irrational fear.
But like,
A lot of fears are irrational.
I have an
maybe it's
irrational
not,
fear.
because they used to make, or they still do make, popular wines in huge vats.
Yeah.
And we're a person to. Have you ever heard about in rural areas where people get stuck in corn?
In silos.
They go into the corn.
They
and
go
Yeah.
in the
because
silo.
it displaces you. So in the wine, they're glass lined because light is bad for wine. It ruins it.
Yeah.
So that's why the bottles are dark, like our 19 Crimes guy here. This one even has a UV on it.
Yeah.
To stop light from getting in. But the point is, they leave a little bit of translucence so you can see how much is left. But the point is, these big vats, right? Just like the corn. These guys fall in the corn and they can't get out. They're just like, it's not even, there could be a ladder over there, but they can't get over to it because as you shift your weight, more corn comes in and you're just,
It's like sinking
in
sand.
wine, it's just like sinking in water. But
Quicksand.
as I understand it, the vats didn't have ladders; they were being stirred, and so there's no egress back in. They probably do have safety precautions now,
They just lower a rope in there.
but
Spend
as I
time in a
understand it,
vineyard, fear over.
well, if you fall in it, yeah, I get it.
I'm saying, just,
Yeah. Well, so if you were working with Gregory,
Gregor?
if you were working with
Gregor.
Gregor is a weird name. If you're working with Gregor and he
Jeff.
falls in the vat and he dies and they pull him out and they say, "Ta-da! Don't stand next to the vault or the vat anymore, vat, or you're gonna die," right? Mm-hmm. Then you've got onophobia because it's a fear of wine
No,
vat.
Well, fear. You're a fear of the vat.
But what other way does it come out? Maybe your mom had like
A
she's
drinking
super, or your
problem.
mom or your dad is super abusive, and they come in with their wine breath, and they're like, "You're a bad son," and
So
slap
then when
you.
your girlfriend comes in, she's got a wine on her breath
Yeah,
and
and
it
you're-
takes you back and you're like,
And then you
wine.
stab her a million
I mean,
times.
I have an irrational fear of tall people.
What?
Yeah, like
That's not a
if
thing.
somebody might fall on me.
Fall on you?
Yeah, like if
Like people are just like lumber?
right.
yeah.
Like you're walking in a store and a tall man comes by and you're like, oh.
I do feel that. Yeah, so I understand if somebody's got an irrational fear of wine. I have an irrational fear of tall people.
It's like somebody just goes to a supermarket and goes in the wine aisle and they're like, they just-
Yeah, like that's what I imagine.
that's an interesting fear.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard you say that you had a fear of tall people.
I have a fear
I've
of
heard
tall.
you
I'm
say that you
very
have a fear-
uncomfortable
Really, what
around
you have is a
tall
fear
people.
of being crushed. Like
Yes, but
that
I
has
only
a name. It's not tall
I
people.
only feel like it around tall people. I don't have a fear of being crushed by short people.
Okay, you're shorter than me by quite a bit.
Yeah.
Do you have a fear of me? Be honest.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. Do
Yeah.
I loom over you
Honestly,
like an
when
old
I
tree that
when
might
I
fall
feel
on a walking path?
when I feel afraid is if you still have your shoes on and I've taken mine off because that adds like an inch to you
Oh,
and
I'm
it
not wearing-
subtracts an inch from me.
That's a lie.
No, it's true. And I feel uncomfortable.
One pair of shoes, I know what shoes you're talking about, are this high. They're not that high.
This
I don't need...
one shoe is
But
this.
you're making it sound like I need to wear this baby heel to be tall.
No,
It's
no,
just-
not
no.
Gene
It's just a
Simmons
thick
walking around on
It's just a
platforms.
thick
I know, that's what
sole.
It's just an Air Force One. Like,
Yeah, 1 inch.
okay,
Air Force
but
1
these
inch.
shoes that I'm wearing right now have... Look
Those
at...
are thin, and I don't have a problem with your height.
What do you mean
but when you
problem?
wear the Air Force Ones and I take off my shoes first, you're tall. You're too tall. I've always been uncomfortable around
If I
tall
stand in-
people
okay.
because of the fact that they might fall on me. And
If
I'll
I
be crushed.
stand in no shoes, flat, bare feet on the ground,
Yeah.
and you come up
Yeah.
bare feet,
Yeah, that's
you
fine.
do not greet me flat feet on the ground. You up on your tippy toes
Yeah,
like
it
a
helps.
jewelry ad.
It helps.
And I push your shoulders down sometimes because I'm like, you don't need to do this height extension. I'll come down to you.
Yeah, but it's better when I'm a little taller because then I don't feel the height disparage.
Right, but if we're standing
yeah.
flat, do you feel a fear of me when I'm not wearing the shoes, even though I'm still towering over you, only by the difference of this much?
Yeah. I mean,
So you feel afraid.
I
This is interesting. I have never heard of a fear of acutely a specific thing like a tall person.
tall people make me feel uncomfortable. Yes.
So both tall men and tall women.
Yes.
Tall women. I'll be honest. We live in an area where there are some giantesses about.
The Dutch.
Anyone over 6 foot, I'm very uncomfortable around.
So I'm not the tallest. I'm 6 foot even. And there have been some women that I have encountered in public that I look up at, and they're in like flip flops, and I'm just like, whoa!
Yeah.
Like if she tried to kill me,
Whoa.
I would have to fight
Yeah,
her like a regular.
A whole land of like Brienne of Tarth's. Like
Yeah, Brienne of
Yeah,
Tarth.
because you're not going to fight Brienne of Tarth.
No.
Like you're
I'm
fighting
gonna
a
hang out
dainty
with her
woman.
like
you gotta fight that.
Arya.
Well, you got to fight that girl like a man because
she
that's a
looking like a
size-
man.
that's a size and weight, and Brienne of Tarth, it's a training advantage. That's why she was good in the
Yeah.
first place. But
Yeah.
But she was also very, very big.
she was very mannish. Interestingly, in that book, R.R. Martin leaves out her sexuality out of it, and I think it was interesting they put it in the show as possibly. I mean, there's like this fettering
I thought
interest
she
that
had
was-
with
the-
Jamie
with the-
She kind of
Lannister.
leers at Jamie Lannister.
Yeah, I
though.
mean, she serves Jamie Lannister and leers at him, but it's almost become like it felt to me like in the books that it had become like an old scar, like something you're just used to covering or you're used to dealing with. Her affection for Jamie Lannister comes from her shame over it, you know. That's why I felt
maybe.
from that, you know.
Yeah.
That's just like the shape it takes for me because she's such an honorable character. I didn't mean to go R.R. Martin on this one.
Yeah. Oops.
I kinda
Sorry.
took
That
a
was my
stand.
bad. I just wanted to be unafraid
It's
of
on
tall
my
people
mind.
after you mentioned the fear of wine.
Anyway, the fear of wine, onophobia. We don't have that here, right?
No, I do have a fear of Chardonnays sometimes.
Okay, well, that hopefully isn't this one.
Nope.
I've enjoyed it a lot. 19 Crimes. That's going to do it for this edition of the Exciting Whites podcast. We hope you guys have enjoyed the show. And if you want to tell us about some French wine that you like that's white,
Yes.
let us know.
Let us know.
We would love to try it as long as it's not $900 a bottle. And because we are not listening to classical music and are not bourgeois
We
this time.
could. We could put on some bougie classical music.
Yeah.
All
What's the
French
saddest movie that you've ever watched?
music.
Tell us about it. We'd like to know. Is there one that we missed? I'm sure there is. There's a few. There's a lot. Like Forrest Gump. That's pretty sad.
That's not a kids movie.
That's a good point. Oh, you said kids movie?
I saw
Kids
Forrest Gump
movie
though when I
that
was a kid.
scarred you. Yes.
Oh, kids movie specifically.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. I mean, there's still probably more. I would say.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because scarred you doesn't have to be sad. You're just saying scarred you. Like tons of kids movies scarred
Right.
me.
Yeah.
Quite honestly. Like,
Star Wars.
I thought earlier when we discussed, I thought you had said sad.
Nope.
Because you're specifically referencing
my
Land Before Time,
example
which is
was
sad.
sad because the sad things scar me. Of course, the scary things scar me too. Like, you know.
What's your worst dating experience? We'd like to hear your story.
We would love
honestly.
to hear your story.
Honestly, we'd love
If
to tell
you
it. If you're
comment-
comfortable with it, let us like honestly comment and or just write us directly in a direct message. We would love to talk about that again.
We would love to read it
Commiserate
on a
with all of
future
you.
episode.
I'm sure there is far worse than what we've had out there.
Yes.
But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you. Take care.
Thank you.